You have been carrying something for a very long time. Not a sickness, not exactly sadness, something quieter. A hollow feeling that lives just beneath your ribs, Todd. And when the house goes still, when the children have been grown and gone, you've probably told yourself it's nothing, that a woman your age should feel grateful, should feel full, should feel finished. And I am here to tell you, Père, that feeling is not a flaw. That emptiness is a message. You spent years building for everyone else. A family, a home, a life that others could walk into and feel warm. But that void you feel, that ache beneath your ribs, it is not the sound of something broken. It is the sound of space opening. Your own life path, finally path, making room for you. You are not at the end of something. You are at the beginning of the only part of your life that belongs entirely to you. The fire is yours. Tend it.
You have been carrying something for a very long time. Not a sickness, not sadness exactly. Something quieter than that. A hollow feeling that lives just beneath your ribs, that wakes up with you in the morning before the day gives you something to do. And when the house is still, when the children have grown and gone, when the noise of a life fully lived finally settles, there it is, waiting, watching you from the corner of the room. You have probably told yourself it is nothing, that you are being foolish, that a woman your age should be grateful, should feel full, should feel finished, but you do not feel finished. You feel emptied, and I am here to tell you that feeling is not a flaw, that emptiness is a message. And today, if you stay with me, I am going to tell you what it says. My name does not matter. What matters is that I have sat with many women. Women who built homes with their bare hands and their bare hearts. Women who fed children at midnight and showed up for the world every single morning, even when the world did not show up for them. And I have watched this same hollow arrive at their doors like an uninvited season. And I have learned, through fire, through winter, through long silences with the earth, that this hollow is not the end of something. It is the beginning of the most important conversation you will ever have. The conversation with yourself. Stay with me. The first teaching. You were not lost. You were buried. There is a woman I knew. I will call her River Willow, because she moved like water around every obstacle, never stopping, never asking for anything in return. She raised 4 children, tended her husband through illness, cared for her mother in her final years, held every member of her family the way the earth holds roots, strong, silent, constant. And then one autumn, her youngest child left for a life across the mountains, and River Willow sat down at her kitchen table with a cup of tea and could not remember what she liked, not what she wanted for dinner, not what she wanted to do that afternoon, what she liked, who she was when no one needed anything from her. She came to me and she said, "I think something is wrong with me. I have lived 63 years and I do not know myself." I told her, "You know yourself perfectly. You have simply been living under everyone else's knowing for so long that you forgot to keep your own fire burning. You are not lost, River Willow. You are buried, and buried things can be unearthed." The first lesson is this: the void you feel is not emptiness. It is the space left behind when you finally stop filling yourself with everyone else's needs. For the first time, perhaps in decades, there is room. And room feels terrifying when you have never been allowed to take up space. Do not run from that space. Do not rush to fill it with distraction, with busyness, with noise. Sit in it, breathe in it, let it be uncomfortable. Because something that has been waiting a very long time is finally beginning to breathe. The second teaching, the wound that was never given a name. I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, even if no one else is listening. How many times did you say yes when your body was screaming no? How many times did you swallow something that needed to be said, not because it was wrong, but because the moment was not yours, the room was not safe, the timing was never right? How many years did you tend to other people's grief while folding yours away like old linen, tucking it into a drawer you told yourself you would open later, and later never came? Among my people, there is an understanding that has been passed down through many generations. We call it the wound without a name. It is not the dramatic wound, not the loss that breaks you open in front of everyone, not the grief that gets a ceremony, a ritual, a proper burial. It is the slow wound, the invisible one, the 1,000 tiny surrenders that never made a sound. And here is what we know about wounds that are never given a name. They do not heal on their own. They go underground. They live in the body as tiredness that sleep cannot fix. They live in the mind as a low, persistent fog. They live in the heart as a vague sadness that has no clear origin. That feeling of missing something you cannot quite name. That is your wound speaking. And it does not want much from you. It does not want a ceremony or a diagnosis or a long explanation. It simply wants acknowledgement. It wants you to stop walking past it, look it in the eyes, and say, I see you. I know what you cost me. And I am ready, finally, to be gentle with you. This is the second lesson. Name the wound. Not to punish anyone, not to reopen old pain for the sake of drama, but because nothing that lives in the dark can ever truly heal. You do not need permission to acknowledge what you have carried. You have already paid for that right 1,000 times over. Before I share the next teaching, one quick thing. Everything I have been preserving from these old ways, the lessons about silence, aging, inner peace, loneliness, and the things the modern world slowly made people forget, I have written it all down, gathered the way the elders once passed wisdom from one generation to another. It is called The Last Teachings. The link is in the first comment. The third teaching. What the elders knew about the second life. There is a misconception about aging that this world has handed to women in particular, and it is one of the cruelest lies I know. The world says that aging is a diminishing, that after a certain age, you are less relevant, less vibrant, less worthy of the center of your own story. The world looks at a woman over 60 and sees someone fading. But among the elders I have known, the grandmothers who sat at the center of fires that kept entire communities warm, there was a completely different understanding. They called it the second life. The first life is the life of giving, of building, of becoming the person the world needs you to be. It is a necessary and sacred life, and it is not without beauty, but it is not the whole story. The second life is when the self that was always watching from behind your eyes, the one that could never quite speak above the noise, finally gets to step forward. I remember one elder, a woman of many winters, who had spent the first decades of her life as a healer of others. When her children were grown and her husband had passed to the spirit world, people expected her to shrink, to become background, to wait quietly for the end. Instead, she became the most alive I had ever seen her. She began learning things she had always been curious about. She began speaking the truths she had always softened before. She began laughing louder, walking slower, touching the ground with more intention. She told me once, when I was young, I was afraid of what people would think of me. Now I am far more afraid of leaving this earth without ever having been fully myself. This is the third lesson. You are not at the end. You are at the beginning of the only part of your life that belongs entirely to you. The question is not what you have left. The question is, what do you want to do with a life that finally has space in it? The fourth teaching, return to the body before the mind. So much of the pain that women carry in these years lives in the mind. The replaying of old conversations, the quiet accounting of regrets, the wondering, was it enough? Was I enough? Did I do it right? The mind is relentless. It is not unkind in its intention. It is searching, always searching for understanding. But it searches in circles when there is no anchor. And when it circles too long, it begins to feel like that void, like that hollow, like the sadness without a source. My teaching is simple and ancient. Before you go to the mind, return to the body. Among many of my people's practices, when a person was in spiritual distress, when they felt unmoored, disconnected, hollow, the first prescription was never a conversation. It was the earth. Put your feet on the ground. Walk on soil, on grass, on stone. Let the cold of the morning air meet your skin. Listen to the water if there is water near you. Feel the wind as though it is the first wind you have ever experienced in your life. This is not a poetic suggestion. This is medicine. The body knows how to be present when the mind has forgotten. The body cannot live in the past. It only exists in this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. When you return to your body, you return to now. And now is the only place where peace actually lives. There was an elder in my community, well past her 70th year, who every single morning without exception would walk barefoot to the edge of the small garden behind her home. She would stand still for perhaps 5 minutes, just stand, eyes open, breathing, and then she would go about her day. People asked her once what she was doing out there. She smiled and said, "I am reminding the earth that I am still here, and I am letting the earth remind me of the same." The fourth lesson, come back to your body every single day, not through effort or strain, but through simple, deliberate presence. Touch the morning with your full attention. This is how the void begins to fill, not with things, not with plans, but with the quiet miracle of being alive in a body that has carried you through an entire life. The fifth teaching, the stories you tell about yourself are the cage or the door. There is a story you have been telling about yourself for a very long time. You may not realize you are telling it. It may have become so familiar that it feels like fact rather than story. But listen carefully, because this is important. What words do you use when you describe yourself to others? Do you say, "I am just an old woman. I am not as sharp as I used to be. I used to be someone back when I was younger. I am too old to start something new"? Those words are not descriptions. They are decisions. They are doors you close before you even try the handle. Among my people, there is a tradition before important journeys, whether those journeys are physical or spiritual, where the traveler is asked to speak their own name with intention, not their given name necessarily, but the name that carries who they truly are, the name that holds their courage, their knowing, their particular light, because we understood that how you name yourself determines how you move through the world. I have seen women at 65 begin the creative lives they dreamed of at 25 and create something of breathtaking beauty. I have seen women at 70 leave relationships that were slowly suffocating them and walk into a quieter, freer air. I have seen women at 82 learn to sit with solitude and find, to their tremendous surprise, that they were very good company. None of them were exceptional in any unusual sense. They were ordinary women who made one unusual decision. They refused to let the story others had written for them be the final word. The fifth lesson, examine the story you are telling. Find the places where someone else's voice has become confused with your own, and then, carefully, with patience and without judgment, begin to rewrite toward the truth. Not the truth that is comfortable, the truth that is alive. The sixth teaching, gratitude is not the end of longing. It is the bridge. I want to speak carefully here because I know what some of you may be thinking. You are thinking, I know I should be grateful. Everyone tells me to be grateful. I have a roof and food and people who love me. I know I have been blessed, and yet I still feel this hollow. Does that make me ungrateful? Does that make me selfish? No. It makes you human. Gratitude is not the silencing of longing. Gratitude is not the instruction to feel nothing but contentment. True gratitude, the kind my people practiced, was not a performance of happiness. It was a recognition of presence, an acknowledgement that life, even when it aches, is a sacred and unrepeatable experience. There is a difference between genuine gratitude and the gratitude we use as a weapon against ourselves. Genuine gratitude says, I see the gifts in this moment, even through the difficulty. False gratitude says, you should not feel what you feel, because others have it worse. One of those opens, one of those closes. Longing is not ingratitude. The ache you feel for deeper connection, for meaning, for a version of yourself you have not yet fully met, that longing is one of the most human and sacred things about you. It is your spirit saying, there is more, not more things, more aliveness. Honor the longing. Do not silence it with guilt. Simply hold it alongside your gratitude, the way the night holds both stars and darkness, the way the river holds both stillness and current. This is the sixth lesson. Let yourself want things, experiences, connections, expansions, silences, adventures, rest. You are not at an age where wanting is undignified. You are at an age where wanting, finally, honestly, is one of the few things that is entirely yours. The closing, the elder's final words. I want you to think about something as this fire between us grows quieter. You spent so many years building things outside of yourself, a family, a home, a life that others could step into and feel warm. That was not small. That was not nothing. The world does not always know how to honor what women have given, but I know. I have witnessed it. It is enormous. It is sacred. But there is a kind of building that is even older than that. It is the building that happens in the interior, the quiet, patient, lifelong construction of a self that is fully known, fully inhabited, fully awake to its own particular wonder. That work does not have an age limit. The void you feel, that ache that lives beneath your ribs, it is not the sign of something broken. It is the sound of space opening. It is your own life making room for you at last. Go slowly. Be patient with yourself the way you have been patient with everyone else. Return to the earth when the mind becomes loud. Name the wounds that have been waiting without names. Release the stories that were never truly yours. Let yourself be present in your body, your breath, your morning, your cup of tea. And know this, not as a comfort, but as a truth held by many generations before you and many more to come. The women who have walked this earth with the most grace were not the ones who never felt the hollow. They were the ones who stopped being afraid of it, who sat with it long enough to hear what it was trying to say, who learned in the second half of their lives to become the kind of friend to themselves that they had always been to everyone else. That is your invitation now, not to become someone new, to finally, fully become yourself. The fire is yours. Tend it.